little early today, but I think I'm just gonna go ahead and get started. Okay. Hello, friends, forest friends, and welcome to another One Piece chapter discussion review, whatever this is. Uh, so every week after a One Piece chapter comes out, I'm going to read it and kind of stream what my thoughts are on it. Last week was the first one I did, and I attempted to read it live, and that did not go well. I was not able to like form coherent thoughts on the spot, or at least not in the level that I wanted to. So what I did this time is I read the chapter a couple times ahead of time, and I'm gonna kind of go over what I thought about it. So this is chapter 1006, The Honorable Hyogoro The Flower. Um, and this, for all intents and purposes, it's kind of just a setup chapter in a way. It's like there's a little bit of action, but for the most part, it's kind of just showing, uh, setting things up for like what is to come. And I'll kind of go into that more with as I get into it. I'll say my first read through, I was kind of bored by it in a way. Um, I wasn't entirely like it wasn't like the most exciting chapter in my opinion. Um, but as I went back, I realized that it was setting up more stuff to come, and I appreciate it more for that sense. So the chapter starts out, and we've got I forgot exactly what her name was. Was it Bahwan or something like that? Um, and she's reporting on Momonosuke's position. Um, this guy gets the bonk from Yamato. Um, oh, also I forgot we have this wonderful color spread too with the Beast Pirates. Kind of interesting that they're still including Drake in that. Um, but yes, very nice full color spread. Um, uh, this particular panel, I was kind of like it threw me off at first because the scaling of Momonosuke against Yamato is kind of odd. Like I didn't think Yamato was that big or Momonosuke was that small. I'm wondering if that was just like a stylistic choice. Um, Momo, of course, has his curve base on because, of course, he does. Um, and then Sanji, he's not sure who he has to help, whether he wants to help Momo or if he wants to help the samurai. And it's not really clear where he's going to be ending up because they just kind of do the Oda just kind of throws in the this way panel, um, and doesn't really make that super clear. So who knows where Sanji's going to end up? Um, then we're going to cut to Perospero, having pretty well defeated all the Binks that he was fighting. Um, I think a lot of people underestimated Candy Boy there and like thought he wasn't going to be able to take them on just by himself, but he is one of the sweet commanders and he's more than capable of facing these guys down. Um, and he's talking to Carrot here, and he's like going on about how her idea of vengeance for Pedro was kind of ridiculous because it was like he asks her what she thought was going to happen when they invaded the Big Mom Pirates territory, and as messed up as Sparrow is, uh, he kind of has a point. It's like you don't just walk into an Emperor of the Seas territory expect to come away unscathed, and that sets up something for this arc, right? This is basically Oda's way of saying there's gonna be consequences for our crew invading Kaido's territory. We don't know what those consequences are gonna be yet. It's pretty likely that a lot of the samurai are not gonna make it out of this. Um, but I am fully expecting there to be some permanent deaths this chapter. Who's gonna die this chapter, or not this chapter, this arc? Who's gonna die? I have no idea. But it's essentially at this point, Oda is telling us that it is coming, and that's something that we're going to have to prepare for, right? Um, yeah, Sparrow throws in the line, but it's time to show these children what the Emperors of the Sea are all about, uh, and that's pretty indicative that someone is not going to make it out of this. Um, Cutting over to Ice Oni's battle, uh, and we realize that one of the effects of Marco's flames is that it burns up the people that it's healing. It burns up their physical stamina. So as it's doing its healing, it drains their life energy, which is a reasonable trade-off, I think. Um, but what that means is, uh, it makes this it continues this to be a battle against time, even though we do have Marco's healing effects in place, um, which Oda likes to put race against times in his chapters. I'm kind of surprised that Apu hasn't defected from the Beast Pirates. He seemed to me to be like the kind of pirate that would just like uh, switch to whatever the winning side is, and in this case, he's clearly in the losing side. He's having to try to reclaim um, these antibodies from Drake and Hyogoro, who has powered up because of the flames in classic One Piece style. And he's not in a winning situation, and I'm surprised he hasn't defected yet. But he's still going strong. X Drake is clearly defected, so that's why I'm kind of confused that he was still included with the Tobi Roppo on the color spread. But I'm sure, I think that was more just for like a, hey, this is a Beast Pirate spread, we're going to include Drake in this kind of deal. They're going on about how he's regained to his prime. And it looks like the explanation that they gave was that the virus boosted him. And then he's going on about how he doesn't want to become an Oni and kill everyone. So he's giving the command to the other Yakuza to take him out should it come to that. Which, spoiler alert, it does. Good action shot here. It's kind of hard to tell what exactly happened there, like if these guys got hit by a slash or if they got hit by fire. Because he's using one sword style, I can only assume it was a slash, but honestly, I didn't particularly love this part. I thought it was kind of just like generic action, and setting up something. Some reminiscing about Odin. And then we come over here, and I don't remember if Queen had used a beam weapon before. I don't remember him using a beam weapon, so that's kind of a big deal. Unless I'm just forgetting it, in which case then it just makes sense. But he is pretty technologically advanced, so it's not entirely surprising that he has a beam weapon. And then we get Marco showing off his strength, and in direct comparison to the Minks, who got taken out by one commander, Marco is holding his own against two by himself while also maintaining healing powers for everyone else, which, as he says here, it's pretty rough and it's probably taking a toll on him. And it looks like Sparrow is going to join the fight as well, so he's going to have to deal with three at once, and it looks like the healing effect is starting to wear off because he's getting kind of winded. And of course, we end the chapter with this scene where it looks like he's about to be decapitated by his friends, but it hasn't happened yet, so I'm not counting on him being dead. As much as Oda was kind of implying that there are going to be consequences this chapter, I don't know that they're going to come this soon, and that it's going to be Hyogoro that would be our first casualty. So, as I was saying, kind of just a, not really filler, but expositional chapter, I think. I think the biggest thing, most important thing this chapter is this scene with Pero Sparrow. that's implying that there are going to be consequences for invading Kaido's territory. I think that's less Sparrow telling the Minks that, and more Oda telling us listeners, watchers, readers that that's what's going to happen. They're not gonna our crew is not gonna go through this without any sacrifice, and that we should prepare for that. So from here on, I'm going to switch over to the One Piece subreddit's discussion thread for this chapter. I haven't looked through it yet, and I think that's what I'm going to do after I give my overview of the chapter every week when I do this, and we're going to see what other people have to say. So Dean Blade Blue, if you're from the generation before Odin, expect to die during this war. I don't know where he's getting that quote from, but if Oda did say that, then that's not a very good sign for the samurai, or possibly some of the Yonko as well. But I don't know where it's coming from, so I'm going to ignore that quote. PK Rock and Roll says Sparrow's back must hurt for all the carrying he's doing for his crew. For real though, I don't know where the rest of Big Mom's crew is, but Sparrow is putting in some work. Aside from Big Mom, who's fighting, of course, the worst generation. But like Sparrow is like really doing a lot for the Big Mom pirates. Marco always steals a scene, but Hyogoro is such a great character. When he talked about Luffy as his apprentice, it reminded me of how much these previous generations are imbuing Luffy with so much of their knowledge and hopes. Yeah, it really is the theme of inherited will that's also constant throughout One Piece, right? One Characters in One Piece are constantly accepting the will from previous generations and bringing it in and incorporating it into their own characters. So this is not yet another situation where Luffy is taking on the skills and will of a previous generation. Psychological has a few thoughts here. Sanji may actually go towards Momo rather than Skywards due to Momo being a higher priority, and Skywards would want him to do the same rather than help him. Also, Sanji has no idea who Yamato is, so yeah, that's a good point. Of course, Sanji is kind of a wild card in this situation, so we don't really know where he's going to go, but I do agree with Psycho's idea there that he's gonna potentially go towards Momo in this case. Sparrow acknowledges that he would have lost if the weather didn't screw over Carrot and Wanda, which from my POV strongly indicates that Carrot versus Sparrow is still going to be ongoing. I missed that. When did he say that? Your potential victory would require the luck of the weather above. Oh, yep, I completely missed this panel. That the moon got covered by the clouds, and then that deactivated their Sulong form. Okay, yeah, I missed that. So that's interesting. That changes my perspective a little bit. So Sparrow, while powerful, had the Minks like still had their Sulong form. They probably would have had a much closer fight, if not victory. So that changes a lot of this. It still has his threat is still strong. He's still a strong character. He still put in a lot of work and was a strong fighter in this situation. But if he was by himself against all the Sulong Minks, then things probably would have turned out somewhat differently. But assuming the moon comes back out, this battle could start back up. So that's a good thing that this person psychological said this, because otherwise I probably would have missed that. Hyogoro likely ain't dying and likely will be saved at the last moment by Chopper, who completes making more antidote before the last minute. That's what I was saying too. Like, they didn't show him actually dying, so in that case, he's not dead yet. That's just kind of how One Piece goes, right? Marco wasn't Whitebeard's right-hand man for nothing. But he still has his limits. Agreed. Um, he is really strong, taking on two of the top performers in the Beast Pirates. Um, and he's still holding his own, but yeah, he can't do everything. He can't take them out plus Parasparrow and maintain the healing. Hote went from being confidently smoked to being destroyed in one panel. For some reason, I had higher hopes for him. I'm assuming that's the guy that Hyogoro took out. Um, I can't say I had the same hopes for him at all. Flying, flying 6 color spread is beautiful. I mean, it was a good color spread, but it's just kind of a establishing shot, right? Um, Am I the only one who's terrified for Marco's well-being right now? He's borderline carrying the alliance at this point, but the whole uh, him being fatigued from the fight so far and Pero potentially planning sneak attack. Yes, so with all the talk about there being potential for you don't just walk out of a invasion from an emperor's land, I'm wondering if Marco might be the one to take the fall this time. Um, And I know this guy's like, he's not going to die. He's one of the people who has to see Blackbeard go down, but that's not true. Um, People have a lot of expectations for One Piece, and Oda doesn't really care what the expectations are. He just kind of has his own plan, and he's going to do what he wants to do. And no character has to do anything aside from Luffy getting to One Piece, right? Like, and even then, that's not guaranteed. It could be a tragic ending, though I don't really foresee that. Um, I hope we get a glimpse of Jinbei and Who's Who next chapter. That's the only fight we haven't seen any progress. That's not true. Black Maria and Robin just started. I was honestly hoping to get more of that this chapter. Um, and that hasn't gotten much progress yet because it's just begun. I want to see more of that. I have a feeling that we won't see Sanji again until he swoops in at the last second to save either Momo or the Scabbards. Yeah, that's probably true. Marco's actually the MVP of Wano, and Yodabot is coming in. Uh, Onigashima seems really close to the capital now. We could see the tall snow-covered mountain in the panel floating Onigashima, which means Wano citizens might soon see a calamity coming for them. Yeah, I know it's technically 3 calamities. Yeah, that's the other race against time that Oda is throwing in this time around. But I'm not too. I feel like it's gonna be a few chapters before we see any like actual acknowledgement of this from the citizens. There's still like a lot to take care of on the island itself. Uh, Color spread, Whitebeard right hand man, Marco taking on King and Queen while using his flames to save all the ice. Oni and doing well. Blackbeard kicked his. What is this guy's trying to say? Uh, this guy's kind of rambling. Everything about this chapter is it establishes so well that the person who taught Luffy Ryo and who see Luffy as an apprentice capable of taking on Kaido was an absolute master. That's true strength is so fierce his allies need to kill him before he goes berserk, otherwise both sides will be completely annihilated. This adds a lot of weight to the caliber of Luffy's training. That is true. Even though Luffy's training was not very long this time around, he did have this super strong guy, Hyogoro, as the one training him. So that does show that like his training is nothing to sneeze at. That is a good point. That was like another thing that this chapter does, and I did because I did not acknowledge that. Great chapter. Marco is a monster, dealing with Kaido's 2 strongest commanders with ease. I wouldn't say it was with ease, but sure. The color spread looks on point. Oda always kills it with these. People are really praising this color spread. Did I tell you? I was like, okay. I mean, it's a good color spread. It's got nice details for all of the Beast Pirate commanders, and but it's the typical bad guy side of the fight color spread. Um, I don't know. I like it, but again, it's nothing extremely exceptional. I think these people are overreacting. Um, and it's not like this is the first time that we've seen the colors of the all the Beast Pirates, because these colors were confirmed before. Um, Although I gotta say, I do like Old T's kind of cotton candy color scheme. That's nice. Um, but back to it. Severely underestimated Parasparrow, also messed apart with the weather affecting. Agreed. Wish we would have found out what Sanji's decision is this chapter. Nah, that's a cliffhanger. We gotta have suspense, right? If anything happens to Hyogoro, you know Luffy would be pissed. That's true, but nothing's gonna happen to him. Alright, we can get a couple more here. Man, I didn't expect to care about Hyogoro and Marco at all. Every time they appear, they just get getting better and better. Um, I mean, I don't know why you didn't expect Marco to be good, but that's fine. I only want to remember y'all what Garp did to the guy who was dominating two commanders together. Yeah, Garp held his own against Marco and actually like really held his own. So, uh, people always underestimate Garp because he doesn't have devil fruit. He's just kind of goofy grandpa. But he is the hero of Marines for a reason. Uh, Only reason that he didn't sink the Straw Hats when he was pursuing them was because he didn't want to, right? He easily could have. Honestly, he could have really, if he wanted to. I mean, he did want to. If he didn't value his position in the Marines and what he could do within the Marines, then he totally would have been able to save Ace during Marineford. Um, so yeah, Garp, don't underestimate Garp, guys. Um, Everyone was hyped about Robin fight, but 100% guaranteed we're gonna rejoin that fight midway in a few chapters from now for about 2 to 3 pages, and rejoin again later to see the final attack summed up in another 2 or 3 pages. Mostly I'm exaggerating, but you get the point. That is true. There's so many fights going on right now, and as much as I want to see more of Robin's fight, that's probably how it's gonna end up. Um, but that's fine. You can't give a ton of fight time to everyone, right? So that's gonna be mostly prioritized for the main character fight. It's gonna be mostly prioritized for the um the worst generation versus the emperors. So I understand that, but it is a little disappointing that we're not gonna be able to see Robin's full fight, but probably unless Oda really surprises us and he shows it to us anyways, in which case I will be totally fine with that, totally happy. But anyways, guys, that's gonna wrap up my discussion for chapter 1006, The Honorable Hyogoro The Flower. Um, Also, One Piece is not on break next week. We do get a chapter next Sunday, so we don't. That's always good. We love not having a break. So I will be back next week with another discussion for that chapter. But until then, I thank you guys for tuning in and watching, and I will catch you on the flip.